Boop, 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 boop. Right, 2 seconds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we're live. I think we're live, lads. Are we live? Oh, are we? Hello. Right, we are. We are indeed. How is everyone doing? We are back. I haven't done one of these in a while, actually. I hope you guys are all good. I'm going to be talking through what my team will be for the Qarabağ game later, and we can sort of come to it. I've got an idea of what I think Ange might do and what I kind of want to do here, but we can have a bit of a play around with it and go into more detail. I also want to talk about the Fans Forum, because I haven't really spoken too much about that other than on my TikTok pages. I haven't spoken about it in a YouTube video or anything like that. So I want to get into detail in terms of some of the quotes. Apparently my mic is blowing out a bit. It might be a bit too loud. Let me just turn that down. It might be a bit too close to me as well. Yeah, I hope you guys are all good. Mic's a bit bad. Is it too loud? Is it too loud? Mic down. Turn the mic down. Mic's a bit loud. Okay, perfect. We turned it down. Is that better? Just give me a better in the chat. Yeah, I can see the comments. Just give me a better in the chat if it's better. I think it's probably because it was too close to me. I've had some technical difficulties trying to do this stream, to be fair, annoyingly before. So hopefully that is all right. Sounds weird. Better a bit. Let me turn it down a bit more. Better. Okay, it's better. Cool. All right, perfect. Bit better. All right, we'll crack on. Nice one. So yeah, I want to talk about the. I want to talk about the Fans Forum. Some of the quotes from Ange, some of the quotes from Levy as well. I want to talk about Sonny's new contract, and I want to talk about the game tonight, really, in terms of what I would personally like to see and what I'd like to do. You can see I've got some substitutes there on the side. This is probably what I would like to go with, to be honest, boys. Ideally, in an ideal world, Mickey van der Ven doesn't have to play in this game because we would have signed a backup centre-back to play in that position. But I think it would be a good opportunity potentially tonight to see Dragusin and van der Ven actually play together. I do think there's a good chance Ben Davies comes in for one of these two because maybe starting van der Ven and a Doggy both in this game is a little bit overkill. Maybe, especially with the lack of cover that we've got on that side. I mean, when you think about it, the Jed Spence decision is just absolutely baffling, isn't it? When it actually comes to sort of putting the team together for the first game. But other than that, I think this is close to what we'll see. I don't think that he'll start Mikey Moore. I think there's a good chance that he potentially starts Timo Werner on that left-hand side, who I'm just going to add to the bench now. Or potentially Sonny as well. Again, obviously, Sonny was doing the press conference before the game yesterday. He had some interesting things to say about his contract, which I want to talk about as well. But I think there's a chance that he starts Sonny. I think Dominic Solanke will definitely start. I think nailed on starters tonight. I think a Solanke, I think Bentancur, I think Bergvall, and I think Johnson as well. I think he'll start Brennan Johnson because I think Johnson is... and Dragusin and Gray. I think... those players in this game are definite starters. Someone has just said, what about Madison Decky? One has to start, surely. I don't think they necessarily have to start. I think with Bergvall especially, we've got really good cover for that Madison role. And look, I'd love to see Kulusevski, but I'd also think that he might go with exactly the same midfield that he did against Coventry. Crazy idea, make Werner play left back. Timo probably starts, says Ruben. What a drink this is, by the way. Lipton's peach iced tea. Not sponsored, but they want to sponsor. That'd be lovely. Yeah, so I think, look, we all want to see Mikey Moore, right? We all want to see Mikey Moore tonight, but I do think there's a good chance that he maybe starts Sonny or Werner there instead. It's just when you look at Arsenal last night and you see Nwaneri scoring twice, and you just think, I want to see that. I want to see that with Mikey because, Qarabağ, no disrespect to them, and they could probably cause us problems tonight. I'm not going to do a preview on what Qarabağ are going to, in terms of what problems they're going to cause us, because that would be disingenuous because I really don't know anything about them. Obviously, we played them in the Europa League before. Sonny got his first couple of goals for Spurs that night as well. But I don't know too much about them. So, again, this is a strong enough team. I think Solanke, in an ideal world, I think what happens is you play Solanke for... Let me just remove these circles. You play Solanke for 60 minutes. He gets a goal or two, hopefully, and then you bring Will Lancashire on. Because, obviously, we haven't got Richarlison available. It is Matty Kushner. How you doing, mate? We haven't got Richarlison available, so hopefully, I think you give Solanke 60 minutes, continue to get him back up to speed after the injuries, continue to get the goals flowing into him, and then you bring Lancashire on. It might potentially be the same with Mikey Moore. Look, if Sonny starts, I haven't got a problem at all because I think you want to go strong and just blow these teams away. Look, Man United slipped up at home yesterday. And Porto lost as well, the two other favourites for the competition alongside us. So tonight is a good chance to go a little bit stronger. But then again, Big Ads has made a good point there. Unlike the Cups, it's not like we can go out the competition tonight, so we'd like to see the first 60 minutes with Moore and bring Lancashire on at 60. I would love to see that tonight. I would absolutely love to see that. And speaking of the Cups, we will, of course, talk about the fact that we have been drawn at home to Manchester City in the next round of the Qarabağ. We'll talk about that in a little while. But I think Bentancur will start. Lots of chat about Bentancur in the comments. I think Bentancur will start again. I think this is... I want to talk about it in a TikTok video, actually, because I think this is a huge run of games coming up for Yves Bissouma. We don't know what is happening with Bentancur's suspension as of yet. Obviously, Sonny spoke about it yesterday, and that's something else I want to quickly talk about. I haven't got a lot of time, by the way, lads, because I'm leaving for the game in... I'll probably wrap this up by about 4 o'clock, if that's all right. But I am going to the game. I'm going to the game tonight. And let me know if you guys are going to the game as well. That'd be sick. So, yeah, I think where obviously this ban is potentially looming for Bentancur, I think the Europa League is such a great opportunity to keep him match sharp and as fresh as possible. But this is a huge run of games in the league for Bissouma, because obviously we saw Bentancur's level of performance the other day. He was absolutely excellent in that game against Brentford at the weekend, and shows that when he does come back after his ban, that he is going to be competing right behind him. Yogi Bear says Qarabağ are top of their league in Azerbaijan. They also did get beat by Dynamo Zagreb in the Champions League qualifying, didn't they? Who got beat 9-2 by Bayern. So, when would you want to see Biss come on? Would be good to get him some fitness in before Sunday. Yeah, I agree. Potentially Bissouma does start. I'm not against that at all. Look, I'm going to go back to the team that I would like to see play. I think you play Johnson again because we haven't got too many other options on that right hand side, unless you don't play Johnson and you play Moore on the right hand side, where he played a lot in pre-season, and then you play Werner or you play Sonny there. That's something I think he might do. The ban for Bentancur isn't in Europe. And also someone asked about Romero. Romero is obviously not here because he is suspended for a tackle that he made 2 years ago tonight. But yeah. And then I think the only other thing that he might do is potentially this and not play Van der Ven. Look, I want to wrap Van der Ven up in cotton wool as much as possible. But at the same time, we haven't actually, when you think about it, we haven't actually seen these two play together. They've played together when Van der Ven's played at left back towards the end of last season, but we haven't actually seen them play together as a starting centre back pair. So I'd quite like to see that tonight. So that's what I'd go with. But I'm going to put Mikey back on the left, and I'm going to put Johnson on the right. That has got enough firepower to win these games. Look, like I said about Nwaneri for Arsenal last night. I want us to do you want me to turn the mic down? Sorry. Yeah, my mic. People were saying about my microphone. It might be a little bit the level might be a bit too loud. Let me just turn that down. Apologies about that. I haven't done one of these streams in a while, so I didn't quite have the time to play around with my mic settings. But hopefully that's all good now, lads. Surely Davis can give us enough to get through Qarabağ. I agree. I think I just want to see Van der Ven and Dragusin actually play together. Someone said there, Matt Gert said, didn't Ange say he wasn't going to over-rotate? I understand that to mean no more than 3 players. Well, I didn't see him say that. I didn't actually see him say that. If that's the case, I don't think this is over-rotation, to be honest. Look, how many changes would that be from the weekend? You've got Vicario, Van der Ven, Doggy, Johnson, Solanke. So that's 6 starters who started at the weekend. Obviously, we've got Man United at home away at the weekend as well, which I'm actually going to, which should hopefully be good. I'm going to talk about it in a preview that I want to do. So videos coming out in the next few days. Tomorrow we'll have a review of the Qarabağ game. Saturday we'll have a preview of the Man United game. And I've also got a video coming out where I'm going to be ranking the potential of every Spurs player in the squad. I'm just debating at the moment whether to do it under like a certain age. So it's just young players. So I might just do that actually. But that's going to be coming out maybe Sunday, if not next week. But tonight is a great opportunity to see Lucas, Bergvall. Mikey Moore will definitely get minutes. Tyrese Hall apparently in the squad as well tonight. And Archie Gray as well, who we haven't even spoke about so far. Look, I'd like to see Archie Gray in midfield, but I think just getting in minutes at this stage is the most important. Look, he didn't have the best game against Coventry, but tonight is going to be different. It's going to be one where we dictate the ball a bit more. It's not going to be as frantic. They're not going to be putting it on us as much as Coventry were. Just don't put Forster in goal, says Ruben. I agree. I don't see, there's no reason to not play Vicario tonight. But that's the team. That's the team I hope he goes with tonight. Balance of enough first team quality to get us through the game, but also a real opportunity to get youth some significant minutes. And like I said, I'd like to see Solanke get 60, get a goal or 2 hopefully, and come off the bench for Will Lancashire. That's what I'd love to see tonight. I understand this is your 11, but what do you think Ange's will be? I think there's a good chance that... I think in terms of what Ange might do, I think it might be this, and then potentially that. Might be the only 2 changes. But I think Ange won't give up on Werner. He needs game time. That's a fair point. But does Werner need game time, let's be honest? But that's what I would go with. Anyway, let's move on. You guys let me know in the chat who you want to see play and what you're looking forward to tonight. I'll just close the tactics board. Didn't mean to do that. So, back in Europe, how beautiful is that? Look, I think we've spoken about on stream before about the kits and stuff, and a lot of you guys have said to me on here or on TikTok that you guys actually prefer Spurs when we play in all white. You guys prefer us when we play in all white. You like the kit that we had last season. I've always said that I just prefer it just in Europe because I think it's more special, it's more classic. And that is the beauty. Because the kit is like classic vibes anyway that we've got this season. But with the white shorts and the sort of the trim at the bottom, lovely stuff. I really like it. Let's talk about... I've got to talk about City, haven't we? City at home in the Cup. Next round of the Carabao Cup. I tweeted out myself. Go and follow me on Twitter, by the way. That'd be massively appreciated. Time to cash in that Man City favour. Look, Pep said that he's going to rest players. He said that he's going to rest players in the Carabao Cup. Let's see what the quote was. Let me just try and find it quickly. In the next round, I'm announcing now, I will play the players who have played the least minutes or the second team. We are not going to waste energy on that competition. Let's have a quick look at the team that he played on Tuesday in the Carabao Cup. Foden, Doku, McAtee, Nunes, Grealish, Matt O'Reilly, he plays for Brighton. Nico O'Reilly, Rico Lewis, Walker, Stones, Braithwaite, Ortega. I want Spurs to just go. We've got to sense that and go all out for this game. We've got to go all out for it. Why not? City at home in the Cup. I want to talk about Sonny because yesterday Sonny was talking in the press conference about his new contract. He said we'll see what happens. It was all just quite vague in the sense that, look, there's probably something going on, but I'm not really going to talk about it. He said that he just focused on winning a trophy for Spurs this season. However, it came out later in the afternoon that Spurs will trigger a clause to extend Captain Heung-Min Son's contract by a further year. I think, look, that would take Sonny up to 34 because his contract would end in 2026 because he's got up until the end of this year and then he's out of contract and then obviously another year on top. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And then I think you've got to start planning from next summer for a succession plan for him, really. He's going to be 33 next year. This is why I like tonight. Let me just go back to the tactics board quickly. I said it earlier, sort of, but it's a good opportunity to manage his minutes and not play him. You don't really need to play Sonny in this game. Bring him off the bench like you did against Coventry if you really need to. But let's talk about the fans forum as well. Like I said, guys, I haven't got much time today because I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave to go to the game pretty shortly. And I appreciate you guys joining in. I apologise as well that I haven't been doing as many lives recently. Like I know I always do, obviously, lives for... I used to do my... Obviously, Football Manager as well. Football Manager will come back. It's just been a bit of a busy couple of weeks. Football Manager will come back next week. I'm telling you, it will come back next week. I've just had a lot on recently. So that will come back. Don't you worry. I heard someone asking about it. I saw someone ask about it in the comments. But obviously, you guys know that I usually do my match reactions and match previews live, like these kind of videos, which I've massively appreciate the support on because they always kind of do well for me. I love that you guys want to dive in and hear what I have to say. But it's just been a bit... I find some... What I found is that I think... You can see here, I've made them a lot shorter. Coventry 17 minutes, Brentford 16 minutes, Brentford 22 minutes, and the Arsenal one's about half an hour. Like, sometimes when they're live, like I don't know, I just want to make them a bit shorter and a bit snappier. So I've stopped doing them live for now. But if you guys want me to do them live again, it's something that I can look at. But look, for example, here the Brentford one, just 15 minutes. Like that's enough, to go for a tactical preview for a game. And if you're going to do a live stream, it's never going to be 15 minutes. It's always going to, because look, I want to interact with you guys so much, and I love doing that, and that's why I love doing these streams. I obviously did those streams throughout the summer during the transfer window, but obviously there isn't as much to talk about now. I was kind of doing it for that reason, so we could have a debate around certain players, etc. So I want to think of I don't want to lose that. Like I said, I've been doing these just recorded recently, just because I would just want to get them out and just get everything across that I want to say. But I want to think of a live kind of format, that I can sort of get you guys back involved in, because I don't want to lose this. Like I've said for so long about like how important my community that I've kind of built on here, and that's why I love Football Manager. That's because, like, and I know not all of you guys will watch it who are in this stream. Like, obviously the views are a little bit lower on FM. A lot of you guys just want to watch my Spurs stuff, right? Which is totally fair. So I want to think of maybe it could be a new live stream format. Maybe it could be a bit of a call-in show or something like that. A bit of a, somewhere where you guys get involved a bit. So I don't feel like I've forgotten about that. Recently it's just been a bit easier just to do them not on stream, just to get them out. And I've had a lot going on as well, and just in terms of being busy and stuff like that. So it's just made it like a little bit easier. But we will get there. We will think of something. Make sure to subscribe to YouTube as well. Nearly at 6k, and like I said, there'll be a video on the channel tomorrow. Maybe we could do the Qarabağ one live tomorrow. Also, exciting news, guys, by the way. For anyone that watches his videos, I'm going on Luke Pingu's channel tomorrow to do, I think, Guess the Footballer. So that should be fun. Anyway, enough about me. I say that quickly. Just go and make sure you follow the TikTok page. I'm nearly at 10k on my second account on TikTok as well, which would be massively appreciated. If you could help get me there, Ben Bowman THFC. That's kind of the home, as you can see. For like all of my Spurs content, really. I still make Spurs content on the main channel, but you can see it's mainly just Spurs stuff on there. So make sure to go and give that a follow, and like I said, on Twitter as well. So, Fans Forum. Ange Postecoglou. Is it time to show more pragmatism in games? Teams that win trophies have solid defences as well as attacks. You're spot on, mate, but it won't be us. By the way, for YouTube app on TVs, the live chat overlays where your face is. Oh, right, okay, because I'm on the right-hand side of the screen. Thanks, Zap. I will bear that in mind in the future. Thank you for letting me know. What are the general thoughts on the Fans Forum, guys? As a concept, is it a bit pointless? Is it a bit redundant? It's obviously kind of come in for a bit of slack recently from some people and certain people. I think, to an extent, I think certain people have got a point about it. Look, they're obviously clearly vet the people that are going to go. They don't want people to go and ask stupid questions or questions that are going to be particularly challenging and it get a bit more of an altercation, which nobody wants. And you can understand why they do that. You can understand, because I think there are certain people that, are very, very anti-Daniel Levy. It makes absolute sense for Spurs not to have them in the room, because it could, you never know what could happen, really. You could argue, though, that does not really make it a fair representation, which I also understand. Gary says it is a bit redundant if the questions are vetted, but also I worry the types of questions will be asked if it wasn't vetted, so is there much point? I kind of agree. It's a good PR thing. And look, last year we kind of all lapped it up with Ange and some of the things that he was saying, especially it came at a time where the feel-good factor with everyone was kind of really there. And obviously I think Ange, look, this quote, let's just play this. Let me just turn me down. Let me just turn me off, actually.
We want success, we want to win things, no one greater than me. What comes first is the way we play, and I'm not going to deviate from that. So that means it's not going to be an easy road, and that means along the way that we're going to get tested and we're going to get questioned. But when success comes to this football club, and it will come, it'll be glorious because it'll be exactly the way the club wants it.
It will be glorious. It will be glorious. Gary said it. It was worth it for this quote. It was worth it for this quote alone, to be honest, because like we've all just kind of said, it is a little bit redundant, the fans forum. It's a good opportunity to kind of build that connection with the actual fans and be in a room with these people, be in a room with Ange and be in a room with Levy and Sonny and Beth England and Robert Villaham, and Johan Lang was there as well. And I have kind of been a little bit frustrated about kind of the misreporting of some of the quotes, etc. Like, as much as you want success, there's a Spurs man and won't deviate from that. But when you listen to the actual quote, like this, I feel like it's just ammunition for people to just be like, I'm not changing, etc. And I said this in a TikTok video yesterday, actually, that's really important for Ange to say that we won't deviate from that and we're going to do it our way. We all want success. But I think people get too confused between the idea of a manager's philosophy and tactics. They go hand in hand, of course they do, because your tactics are influenced by your philosophy in terms of if you want to play attacking football, absolutely. But at the same time, we saw at the weekend Ange changing, Ange adapting. If you watch the video that I put together on Sunday in my review of the game, Udogie and Porro staying higher and wider, Kulusevski and Maddison as those two number 10s, and obviously he'd done that prior to the Brentford game. But Ange is a winner. He's a born winner. He's a man that wants to win. And if things aren't working, he will change. He will change tactics, absolutely. But the philosophy won't change. And this is what he's talking about. I think people get too caught up in the idea of him not adapting enough.
Success, and we want success, and we want to win things.
Oh,
no one greater than me.
But it's just, you know, it's quality. But, I mean, Daniel Levy, on the other hand, when you come out and say stuff like this, I have a very thick skin and I just ignore it when he gets talked about criticism from the fans. It's not exactly the smartest thing to say, is it? It makes me want to be more successful. It's a bit tone deaf to come out and say that you just ignore any criticism from the fans. But anyway, I also want to talk about this with Sonny. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Sonny was asked about Rodrigo Bentancur yesterday and the situation. He basically said that he couldn't say too much because obviously the situation is with the FA and we still haven't heard the result of the hearing basically in terms of what the punishment is actually going to be. But he talks about the fact that I think he says in this sort of minute and a half clip, I think he says I love Rodrigo about 10 times. You know, he said that he genuinely apologised. He was in tears basically when he saw him after pre-season. Look, this doesn't mean that Rodrigo Bentancur shouldn't be punished, but I think you can tell that he had a lot of compassion, and it was a very ignorant thing to do from Bentancur. But at least that relationship is still there, and it's healed. And you know, go and listen to. I don't know if I play this or get done for copyright or not. The whole thing. So, but yeah, he said that he apologised straight away, and that there's no bad feelings there whatsoever. Though the mic is better, I think it's the gain that's a bit too high. Okay, we'll sort it out for the next video. We'll sort it out for the next stream, mate. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Obviously, I just hopped on there. I was been a bit busy this afternoon, and I thought my mic and stuff would just be set up in the usual way, but obviously it's had a few problems. Someone's made a great point there. Ilmatic said, people calling Ange naive when in fact they are naive about Ange. That is brilliant. And I don't know if anybody's got this yet or has had the chance to read this. I'm about to start and I'm very much looking forward to it. And I think there's a lot of that in there what you kind of just spoke about, Ilmatic. Gary says Mr. Levy had a stinker at the Forum. He did. Postecoglou came across, as always, incredibly well, I thought. I hadn't seen too much. I'll be honest, I haven't actually watched it back. Last year I watched it. This year I haven't actually watched it back. I kind of just seen the quotes and some of the clips. But yeah, last thing I want to talk about it quickly, just before we wrap up, because I'm going to the game shortly. I'm meeting the old man for a Turkish actually, which would be very nice. So I did a podcast the other day with Oso Spurs, and Jim, who runs it, is a cracking guy and a genuine kind of inspiration, really, because I don't know whether you guys would have seen this, and he brought it up on the podcast if anyone listened, and I actually spoke about it on Daring and Doing at the end of the episode yesterday. Basically, Jim has done an amazing thing. He's done an amazing thing, and he, for anyone that doesn't know Jim's backstory, he go and look at this tweet. I'm just going to quickly pop this in the chat actually. Because they've got a Just Giving page, and I'll tell you about that in a sec. But basically, Jim has had a rough time, a few years. Basically, Jim got diagnosed with cancer the day before his wedding. I think it was a few years ago, potentially. And his life turned upside down. And it turned upside down to the point where he felt like he didn't necessarily want to be here anymore. In this kind of tweet, in this sort of monologue, he talks about the fact that one of the things that kind of got him back, got him sort of back into a better state of mind, let's say, and feeling a bit more normal, was the fighting cock. This is obviously way before I was involved. Just as like a fun, safe space and an outlet for just people having a laugh talking about Spurs. And he talked about going to a live show while he was undergoing chemo at that time, and just how the boys on the podcast, who are just excellent guys, by the way, anyway, made him feel, bought him drinks that night, just hanging out with them and just feeling a bit more normal about things after a really tough time. And so Jim's better now. He's managed to have his child. He's come through cancer, brilliant stuff. But off the back of that, once he kind of healed, I think, we all know that Spurs Twitter or social media can kind of be a bit of a negative space. And I think once he'd kind of come out of that, going back into, listening to podcasts, it was basically going through a time where Spurs were just rubbish and the whole feeling was negative. And I think Spurs was such a great outlet for him while he was going through that struggle, in terms of feeling a bit more normal and almost as a distraction. Kind of coming back into it when it was a lot more in a negative space. I think that's why he started the podcast, So Spurs, and I did it the other night. It's great chat, very positive, just quite upbeat about things, like I am, I'd say. So they've grown really well, but they met. Sorry, this is quite a long tweet, but it is very important, guys. This is very, very important, because there are a lot of young guys that will listen to or watch my stuff. They might not be all watching or listening now, but you might know someone that's kind of gone through a really rough time, because they talked about the fact that they wanted to do something bigger for people that were feeling like they was really struggling and their mental health was in a bad place, and they wanted to do something good about that. And basically, they met an organisation called Cherries Talking, who'd started a support group for Bournemouth fans who might be struggling with mental health, a place where fans could go if they felt lost or just needed someone to talk to with their football club at the heart of it. As me and the guys were talking about it quickly became apparent that we had all been impacted by mental health in our families or personally. And Jim, in this tweet, also talks about the fact that his brother-in-law, Toby, who was actually a Chelsea fan, had taken his own life. He was going through a kind of a real battle, and felt like that was kind of the only way out. And so it's obviously touched him very closely and personally. So what they've decided to do, and you can see Jim down there, obviously while he's going through the cancer treatment, and that's Jim now with his son. Basically, they're setting up their own version of Talking Cherries or Cherries Talking, where they're basically creating a Spurs one. So it's great. So Spurs fans who feel like they are struggling in any way or just want to talk about football because they feel like it might help them or anything, they can go and talk. Basically, Jim is going to set this up, and I think the other guys at the podcast as well are basically all becoming almost like mental health first aid trained. So that's why they set up the Just Giving page, which you can go and donate to now. Look, they've smashed their target of £1,000 because I think it costs 250 quid for them to do it each per person. But it's an amazing initiative to do that off your own back, to sort of like, you know, set up a community where, like I said, if people feel like they're really struggling, they can go and talk to them, or they can go and, you know, Jim and the other guys are just there. They're there. You know, so it's incredible. So go and read the full tweet. I put it in the chat to kind of get a bit more context. Just such a top bloke, great podcast, and a great initiative as well. And I'm sure they'll be communicating a lot more about it once it's actually fully set up and running. So, yeah, that's where I kind of wanted to end today. It's a really important thing to talk about, is your mental health. And if you are struggling, make sure to reach out to someone. But yeah, Qarabağ tonight. I'll be there. That's the team I think we should go with, and I hope we go with. And I hope we're talking tomorrow after a win. Yeah. Have a good one, guys. And up the Spurs. Nice one.